All right, so have you guys seen this? Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. It's out. And, well, let's just say it's stirring up some interesting reactions.
Definitely interesting.
Yeah, like we're talking about the guy who made The Godfather, right? I mean, talk about a legendary director.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Megalopolis has been, like, his passion project for decades, you know? He poured $120 million of his own money into this thing.
Yeah, like a gamble on his own vision.
Exactly.
And, well, the reviews are all over the map, and audiences, well, they haven't exactly embraced it with open arms. So we're going to dive into 2 reviews and see if we can make sense of it all, you know.
Okay, that's good.
Let's kick things off with this AIPT review, Megalopolis review. Coppola retreads familiar territory. The writer definitely knows Coppola's work, especially those big hits he had in the 70s. They even call it his imperial phase. You know, the scope of The Godfather, all that dialogue and tension and conversation. Coppola's not afraid to experiment. But then 1982 happened.
Ah, One from the Heart.
Right. And this reviewer, they kind of chuckled about the soundtrack. Apparently, even Tom Waits couldn't save it.
Well, and that's an important point, right? We're talking about a director who's had massive success, but he's also had some ambitious projects that maybe didn't quite connect with audiences.
Yeah, like One from the Heart. So is Megalopolis going to be his comeback, or is it One from the Heart all over again?
Right.
Okay, so knowing that track record, right? This review points out that the main character, he's an architect fighting against the system, and they're saying it's like Coppola himself.
Yeah, and they even compared it to Tucker, the man in his dream, which, for those who don't know, is about a car designer, right?
Yeah.
Going up against the big guys in the industry.
So we've got Coppola, who's butted heads with Hollywood before, making a movie about an artist fighting the establishment. Kind of meta, don't you think?
For sure, for sure. It makes you wonder, did he learn anything from Tucker? Or...
Yeah, or is he making the same mistakes?
That's a good question.
Now, the AIPT review, they did like the visuals, called the cinematography stunning, actually. But here's the thing. They weren't impressed with the special effects. They even called them cheap.
Cheap?
Yeah, which is kind of wild considering the budget, right?
$120 million. You don't hear that very often. A big budget film with questionable CGI.
Makes you wonder where all that money went, right?
Yeah, it's a head-scratcher for sure. So the AIPT review, they focus more on, you know, the filmmaking itself. But
Right.
what about the people who actually, like, shelled out money to see this thing?
Yeah. What are moviegoers saying?
Our next review, it comes from MovieWeb, and they really get into those audience reactions. The title, I mean, it kind of says it all. Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis gets crushing audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Crushing. Okay, so not just bad, we're talking crushing.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here, like numbers-wise? Give me the nitty-gritty.
All right, so Rotten Tomatoes, the critics, they're giving him like a 49% approval rating.
Okay.
Which, I mean, not great, not terrible.
Yeah, I've seen worse.
But then you get to the audience score, and it's a whole different story. We're talking a dismal 39%.
Ouch. See, that's rough, because those are the people who are actually, like, interested enough to go see it. You know, it wasn't just assigned to a critic.
Exactly. And it gets worse. CinemaScore, which, you know, they poll audiences on opening night.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Those are your diehards, the ones who, like, rushed out to see it. They gave Megalopolis a D.
A D? Are you serious?
I'm afraid so.
But, like, those are Coppola fans, right? At least you'd think.
You'd think so, right? And that's what makes it such a red flag. I mean, we all know Coppola's got this incredible track record, but a D from CinemaScore, that's not just a bad grade. That's like a full-blown warning siren for studios.
Whoa.
It suggests this major disconnect, you know, like what Coppola wants to make and what audiences are willing to, you know, actually pay for, even from a legend like him.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel you. So it's not just that the movie's not connecting. It's like, are people starting to see Coppola differently?
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting. MovieWeb, they point out that while Megalopolis is tanking at the box office, The Wild Robot, you know, that animated family film.
Right. It's a hit. Really. So it's not like people are just not going to the movies. It's that they're actively choosing robots over Coppola.
Pretty much. Which tells you something about audience expectations these days, right?
Right.
Like, they know what they want. And right now, it seems like heartfelt robots are more appealing than a big-budget Coppola epic.
So, like, it's less about good movie versus bad movie and more about expectations. Like, maybe Coppola misjudged what people wanted.
That's a real possibility.
Okay, so we've got this visually stunning film, potentially flawed, though, from a director who's known for both, like, masterpieces and some, let's say, interesting choices.
Hmm.
And on top of all that, audiences are just not feeling it.
Yeah, it's a real head scratcher.
So where does that leave Megalopolis? Like, is this going to be one of those so bad it's good movies, or is it just bad?
Well, I mean, that's the big question, right? It could be that Megalopolis, with like all its ambition and unconventionality, it's just misunderstood right now.
Right.
I mean, think about it. There are plenty of films that were initially panned by, everybody, critics and audiences, and then later on, people start to come around and they become cult classics.
Oh, totally. Like Blade Runner, people hated that movie when it first came out. Now it's like this sci-fi masterpiece.
Exactly. Or Fight Club, right? I mean, it really divided people, but now it's praised for its themes and its style. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe Megalopolis is headed for that same kind of redemption arc. It's too early to say for sure.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, which is kind of exciting, right? Because then it makes you think about, like, what makes a film good anyway? Is it just, like, technical stuff, a good plot, or is it something more, something that, like, shakes things up a little?
Right, and that's what's so great about art, isn't it? What speaks to one person might totally fall flat for someone else. And that's okay. The important thing is to, like, engage with it, think critically, and be open to the idea that, maybe your opinion will change over time.
Yeah, for sure. Like that saying, right? Good art makes you feel something. Even if that feeling is like confusion or frustration or, maybe you even get a little angry. Maybe Coppola was going for that all along.
It's definitely possible. And if that was the goal, well, he definitely achieved it. Megalopolis is a film that you can't ignore. It makes you think. It makes you talk. It makes you feel something.
Totally. So as we wrap up our deep dive on Megalopolis, it seems like we're left with more questions than answers. Is it a masterpiece? Is it a mess? Will it be a cult classic someday?
Only time will tell.
Exactly. But no matter what happens, Megalopolis reminds us that art has the power to, like, really get under our skin. It can provoke us, challenge us, even divide us. And that's worth talking about. So if you do see Megalopolis, come find us online. Tell us what you think. We want to hear your take on this cinematic enigma.